I see that. And is our defendant Melissa here? Yes, I'm here. Is your attorney running late? No, Your Honor. I will be representing myself. Very well. I usually advise everyone against this. It's always better to seek representation, but you are well within your right to represent yourself as well. Thank you, Your Honor. Due to my current circumstances and things out of my control, I do not have the means to hire an attorney, so this will have to do. But I assure you I am doing my research and will do the best I can. I understand. Let's get started. Looking over everything that was filed, I see that you submitted to different proposals, but neither were agreed on. Your Honor, if I may, my client submitted a well-thought-out and detailed plan, but the defendant was against it from the start and countered the proposal with her own. Okay, so let's take a step back here. Please explain why your clients believe they deserve grandparents' rights and for visitation to be delegated by the court. My clients love their grandchildren, and the minor and his grandmother have a very special and unique bond. They have spent a lot of time together since the minor was an infant. So what changed? Unfortunately, my client's son and the father of Jakey ended up incarcerated for a very long time, 50 years. He has no chance of coming out early and has voluntarily removed himself as the minor's father. Unofficially, him and the defendant are also in the middle of a divorce, which was filed by the defendant. That is all irrelevant. I'm not understanding what this has to do with visitation for the grandparents. Can you please explain further how this has impacted the relationship between the minor and his grandparents? Yes, of course. The defendant has been distancing herself and her son from the grandparents and is refusing to allow them to spend any time together now. Ma'am, can you please explain why you are no longer allowing the child to see his grandparents? Your Honor, our visits with Connie and George continued on a regular basis even after Jakey's father went to prison. Visits were regular up until a couple months ago when Connie's mother physically assaulted me in Connie's home in front of my child. Is there any record of this assault? Yes, the police came and I did press charges. There is also an active restraining order against her that extends to Jakey since she assaulted me in front of him. But this was the plaintiff's mom, not the plaintiff? Correct. I'm not understanding what bearing this has on his relationship with the plaintiff then. Originally, I thought she understood why I had to get the restraining order as she witnessed the whole thing. It happened at her house. But then she started making comments about bringing him around her mom without me. Give me a second, I'd like to look this restraining order up. Counselor, are your clients aware of this order and that it accepts to the minor? Yes, Your Honor, and she has told the defendant that she will not bring him around her. So I'm not sure why she's making these false accusations against my client without proof. Mom, do you have proof of her saying that she will bring him around her mother when you're not there? Unfortunately, she only made those comments when we were on the phone and I did not record them. However, she stated this multiple times. She even went as far as to promise she would make sure he would be fine around her mother if she's there. Without proof, that's not something I can take into consideration. Counselor, I'd like to hear directly from Connie if that's okay. Absolutely, Your Honor. Please explain to me why this relationship is important to you and how you plan on honoring this restraining order in place. Jakey is such a sweet and special boy. I have been helping take care of him since he was a baby. When my son and Melissa moved closer to us, we were always spending all of the big holidays together. He reminds me so much of my son, which is probably why I have such a strong connection with him. It breaks my heart that I haven't been able to see him or speak to him in several months. He probably misses me so much. I'm so upset with my mother's actions, but her actions do not reflect me, and I would never go against a restraining order. It was obviously granted for a reason. I wouldn't do anything to put Jakey in harm's way either. Connie starts crying. I wonder if he asks about me or wonders why I'm not around anymore. I hope he doesn't think I left him like his father. Ma'am, while I can respect your hesitation, it sounds like Connie and George are just to-live-in grandparents that would like to maintain their relationship with their grandson. However, looking over this proposal submitted by the plaintiffs, I must agree this is a lot to be asking for. Your Honor, given the circumstances with their son, we believe this is a fair agreement. This is simply to maintain the schedule they always have had and to try and keep things as normal as possible. Our Jakey, while I understand the circumstances, I'm not going to take this much time away from his biological mother. She doesn't have a record, and I can see she is looking out for her son's best interest in a unique situation. But she has also kept my clients from having any communication with Jakey for a couple months now. And she uses the excuse of being busy every weekend. I have messages submitted for evidence proving the T. Yes, I see that, and well, I agree. Some things should be put in place as of right now. I just don't agree with how much time the grandparents are asking for. I feel Melissa's proposal, with the exception of some adjustments on my end, is a fair agreement. With that being said, I'm ready to make my ruling. I will be granting grandparent rights and visitation to Connie and George in the following manner. Connie and George will receive 2 weeks in the summer. This can be consecutive or spread apart and will be at the mother's discretion. The dates of the summer visit can be decided upon between both parties. I will not set a specific date. I am also granting 2 weekends a month and a weekly 20-minute phone call. The day and time of the phone call will be again at the discretion of the mother, but I imagine you guys will work together to find a good time every week. Lastly, if the restraining order is violated on the watch of Connie and George, it should be reported immediately and all visitation will cease. Your Honor, what about holidays and birthdays? That will remain at the discretion of the mother. Your Honor, considering the circumstances, this doesn't seem like a fair arrangement to my clients. They are used to seeing Jakey on all holidays and birthdays and are worried she will not allow this. I'm not concerned about what's fair. I'm concerned about the child's best interest. I believe that maintaining an established relationship with his grandparents is important. But I will not do that at the expense of the mother when she is capable of caring for him herself. This boy has already lost his father. I will not take more of his time away from his mother. Thank you, Your Honor. Court is adjourned. Later that night. Hi, Melissa. I would like to discuss when George and I can start our weekend visitations. I was also hoping to have my weekly phone call tonight. Sure, unfortunately, now is not a good time for a phone call. He is already in bed. I'm not even surprised you are being difficult about this already. Let me remind you, this is all now court-ordered and I have no problem reporting you if you decide to go against the judge's orders. I think a great time for him would be after dinner, but before bedtime, so I'm thinking around 7:10 to 7:30 p.m. He is usually pretty attentive and winding down for bed at that time. We can try this time tomorrow. No, that doesn't work for us. I would much rather it be during the day tomorrow. As you know, we have Zane's little girl in our care full time. So we need to have these phone calls around 11 a.m. during the week. No, you know I can't do that. I'm at work at that time and he is in daycare. Oh, I have the perfect solution then. It won't take away time with you and doesn't inconvenience you. Plus, a phone call isn't really the best. I can just go to the daycare and spend 20 minutes with him there. That's so much better, right? No, that's very disruptive to his routine at daycare. Plus, it's a court-ordered phone call, but a 20-minute visit. He said it is at your discretion, so you could easily change it and allow it. You just want to be difficult. Another time that would work would be on our way home from daycare, which is usually about a 20-minute ride, and that would be around 5 p.m. No, that doesn't work for me either. Okay, well, you figure out a few more options, and I guess we will have to hold off on the phone calls until then. You are court-ordered to give me one phone call a week. Do I have to file contempt already? Yes, but that's difficult to do when you aren't agreeing on any of the times I am offering you. This is ridiculous. Fine, I will make the bedtime slot work even though it's a huge inconvenience to me. I am expecting his phone call tomorrow night at 7:10 p.m. on the dot. I'll text you about 10 minutes before just in case our schedule is a bit off. So you give me a time and you're already telling me you can't stick to it? I just thought you would appreciate a text beforehand just in case. Fine, whatever. When can we start our weekend visits? The order says we have to establish them within 3 weeks. What about next weekend? I can pick him up from daycare and bring him right over Friday evening, and then we'll pick him up Sunday evening. No, I will pick him up from daycare. This way I can get him earlier and have more time with him. I don't mind dropping him off to daycare Monday morning either. No, I would like to stick to the order, which says Friday evening to Sunday evening. So what would be the problem with me picking him up from daycare a little early on Fridays? They have fun Friday activities at his daycare that he loves and would be absolutely upset to miss. Well, you just have an excuse for everything, don't you? I'm not going to go back and forth with you. When you are ready to talk to me in a civilized manner, feel free to call or text me back. No need to get all sensitive with me, but I think the judge made a mistake when he said everything will be at your discretion. He probably didn't realize you would exploit it. Okay, great. We will call you tomorrow for your 20-minute call. The next night, Melissa is getting Jakey ready for the phone call, but he has not been in a good mood since they left daycare. Jakey is fighting Melissa through dinner and bath, and they are now running about 10 minutes behind their usual routine. Melissa texts Connie at 7:10 p.m., which is when the phone call is supposed to happen. Hey Connie, I'm sorry we are having a rough night. We will be calling in about 10 minutes unless if you are okay with pushing the phone call tomorrow night instead. I should have bet money on you coming up with an excuse for tonight's phone call. Again, we can still call tonight. We just need like 10 more minutes. We're a bit behind today. He's been in a grumpy mood. Wow, of course you would make him all grumpy right before our call. I would never make my son upset on purpose. What a ridiculous accusation. He just didn't want to leave daycare today and has been upset since. They were playing a fun game that he didn't want to stop. Well, in all my time with him, I have never seen him grumpy, so clearly this is on you. I'm not really sure I care for him to talk to you with that tone. That is completely inappropriate. Well, you don't get to decide that anymore. if you missed the phone call. I will tell my attorney to file for contempt. This is now court-ordered. You don't get to just pretend to be busy all the time anymore. You know what? Fine, let's do the phone call right now. But don't complain when all he does is scream at you the whole time or ignore you. I'm not worried he will be so happy when he sees me. About 10 minutes later, Melissa calls Connie and gives the phone to Jakey. He takes the phone and chucks it across the room. Melissa sets it up for FaceTime so that Jakey can see Connie and hopes this will calm him down enough for the phone call.